How did it feel to be here at the London MCM Comic Con?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I love this stuff. I used to go to San Diego Comic Con. I live in Los Angeles, so I go to San Diego Comic Con. So I've never been to this one before, but it's huge. And just seeing everybody dressed up, yeah, it's really cool.
And of course, people are very excited about the show. Why do you think it has been such a big hit? Why do you think people responded to it so well?
I think Sleepy Hollow has done so well just because it crosses everything. I mean, you've got horror, you've got action, you've got romance, you've got a lot of comedy in there, so it kind of fits something for everybody. There's a decent amount of action for action fans, so it just crosses all borders. And there's a lot of good-looking women in it, which helps.
Which of those elements was it that particularly appealed to you when you became part of the show?
For me, it was initially the action. I was brought on because I was to do a sword fight with Tom Meissen in the first season, so I was brought on because of my action background, and I'd worked with the showrunner before on a couple of other shows. And then they asked me if I wanted to come back, and season 2, the characters ballooned, which is great.
What's been the favourite part of taking part of the show so far for you? What's your favourite action role been in it, or what's your favourite scene?
Well, we've got actually, we just shot a scene in season 2, episode 10, and I know that's a little way off at the moment for a lot of people in the UK. But this season they've been pitting the fact that my character's stolen Katrina, and he's desperately against Ichabod Crane. Ichabod Crane is trying to get his wife back and desperately against Abraham. So they've been feeding this fire of the two of them having this hatred. And finally, in episode 10, the two of us get together where Ichabod can see Abraham's head and not just headless. And this amazing scene we just shot 2 weeks ago with the two of us, where it's finally these two people smashed together, both verbally and physically. So that was amazing fun to spend 3 days with Tom, smashing hell out of each other.
And how about other characters in the show as well? What are your particular favourites and why?
I love working with John Noble. John Noble plays Henry Parish in it, who's War. He's the second horseman. And he's just such an amazing actor. I loved him from Lord of the Rings and from loads of other stuff that he's done. So to work with him is incredible. He's got the lowest register. I mean, he talks normally, and then suddenly he'll be on set, and everything drops down to become this level, and your bones vibrate. He's such a good actor.
You mentioned there, obviously, you've had some pretty bruising encounters lately. With all the action on the show, have there been any particularly painful ones for you?
Not for me. I actually felt bad. Not for me. I actually felt bad that we were doing a sequence in the fight sequence that I just mentioned in episode 10, season 2. And one of the cameramen got a little too close. I think they get a little bit lost sometimes. They're watching through the viewfinder and forget there are actually people there. And he got a little bit too close. And I'm swinging this axe, and I swing round with this axe, and it collided with his arm, and the poor guy had to be taken off. It was a rubber axe, but it still hurt him. So that's been the only bruising that's happened. There was also a bit where Tom Meissen kicks me over a rock, and our distance got a little bit too close, and I flew.
So it seems you're doing a lot of your own stunt work in here. What are the areas where you have a stunt double come in and take your place?
Well, you always work with the stunt double and the stunt team. So what they'll do, if they're organising a fight sequence, the stunt coordinator and the fight choreographer will organise a fight sequence, and they'll rehearse it with the stunt doubles to get it good. Then they'll bring you in to teach you the fight sequence. And then if you're able to do the fight sequence, they won't bring the stunt doubles in. But if there's big smashes and things, like there's a bit where my character, as I said, gets knocked over a rock, and there's bits where it can get a little bit dangerous, where they want it to look like they're actually hitting each other. They'll bring the stunt crew in and get the professionals to go and do it. So you work. It's a collaboration between the stunt team and the actors.
What attracted you to the role?
I read the original story, and I loved the original story, and I love that whole world. I mean, it just, that kind of colonial period and the costumes and everything else are just fascinating. It's the stuff I wanted to do when I was an actor, just, the old BBC period dramas type stuff. But to add into that a supernatural element, and to add into that an action element, it was kind of like, it just ticked all the boxes for me. And just all the people that are involved. I mean, the writers, Fox, everybody. It was kind of perfect package.
What would you like to see happen next for your character and for the whole show?
I'd love Abraham to be redeemed. I would love my character to get some sort of redemption. The way I've been looking at it and playing him is that he's a victim of a curse. He didn't choose this path that he's on. He didn't choose to become the horseman of death. He did it as a means to enact revenge on Ichabod, who stole his fiancée. And so he never really planned on being Moloch's puppet and bringing about hell on earth. So I believe that there is a possibility to redeem him, and hopefully if Katrina can find it in her heart to find him, then there'll be a little redemption. Maybe we'll go and work with the goodies. We'll have Headless and Ichabod running around the hills stopping monsters.
What's it like meeting the fans face to face, though? Because obviously, being an actor on film or television, you're not there with the fans like in theatre. So, what's it like for you when you get to meet them face to face?
It's amazingly humbling to meet the fans. Because of course you're there on a stage, and we're all the way over in Wilmington in North Carolina, so you're not even around the industry a great deal, and so you're just making the show and you're doing it to the best of your ability. And you get, now with social media, you get Twitter and you get everything else, you get an immediate response from the fans. But to actually meet the fans and see how much the show means to them, and get to talk to them about their favourite episodes and stuff, it's just incredibly humbling. It just makes you very grateful.
How is this role different from your previous role, like on Making It?
Make It or Break It, yeah. Well, Make It or Break It was just he was the coach, and he was the Mr. Miyagi of that world. So that was an incredibly different role. The thing that's really interesting for me with this role is the fact that Abraham doesn't really know who he is. Abraham, for the last 250 years, has been the horseman of death, and he's been this blunt instrument of Moloch. But deep down inside, he's still a man who still loves Katrina, and he desperately wants to get her back. So how do you play both sides? How do you play somebody who is death incarnate, and then play somebody who's trying to woo a woman and make her fall back in love with you? And so the fun for me as an actor is finding this conflict in him where he's desperately trying to be one thing and the other at the same time. And it means that he's a little nuts, but it's really interesting to find those layers.